Sim racers from around the globe, honoring a revolutionary era of open-wheel racing. With a beast not easily tamed, roaring around legendary circuits at breakneck speed. When engineers and drivers push boundaries, sometimes too far. When heroes muscled roaring beasts wheel to wheel around the hallowed ground. A time when the only driver aids were his 2 feet, the perfect combination of man, machine, and speed. Experience the competition and the glory of early 80s IndyCar action. The Lionheart Retro Series presented by Next Level Racing starts now. For one final time in 2023, welcome along to the Lionheart Racing Series. Tonight, a road course king will be crowned, but the championship is still yet to be determined as we work our way into 2024. It's a trip to America's National Park of Speed, and it's here where we'll find out exactly who will be the quickest at the ButtKicker Grand Prix of Road America, presented by Arena TV. Delighted to have your company here on RaceSpotTV. It's our Junior Kanki Party, it's DJ Clark, 2 familiar voices and a very familiar track for us to talk our way through in a short but rapid fire ButtKicker pre-race show. DJ, we both love ourselves some Road America, and I think this one's going to be a thriller with a Lotus 79 recently updated by the iRacing gods to feature a new damage model that's sure to put some thrill into the drivers' minds.
Yeah, it certainly will, Arjuna, and when we talk about this Road America circuit, we are talking about one of the all-time classics, and one of the reasons for that is there is overtaking opportunity aplenty around here. Literally almost every corner you talk about, if you are brave enough, you can send a move down into there, so no position is secure, and no race will be set in stone until we see that checkered flag.
You're seeing the drivers out there for their final stages of the practice session. They're getting themselves warmed up and ready to go, and it's a crucial practice session as well because it's a frenetic race. Qualifying going to be important, hoping to stay out of trouble on the climb up to the start. What a remarkable run it's been through 2023 as we look at the Next Level Racing schedule. 20 races, 2 still left to go, 2 ovals at Gateway and Auto Club. And DJ, we really have shown that this Lotus 79, designed to go racing on Grand Prix courses around the world, can really do battle on ovals as well.
Yeah, it certainly can, and that's been helped along a little bit by some of the additions that iRacing has made, but really and truly, Arjuna, this car comes alive at whatever circuit you want to throw it onto. The ground force effect, the ground effects, rather, force of these cars, sucking the car into the track. It makes for absolutely fantastic running, no matter where you put it, and I personally am looking forward to the last 2 races. Gateway, Auto Club, 2 very different ovals, but very fun races.
And one of those, of course, the second Triple Crown, third and final Triple Crown of the season, with 2 already being done in 2023. It's going to be quite fun, and what has become a staple at the end of the season, a trip to Fontana to close things out. The championship standings show that it's still possible in the Next Level Racing drivers' points for Michael O'Brien to get to the top and to pip Sean Campbell, but he's still going to need to put the pressure on today. Those behind very much out of contention, though, you'd have to feel, with Taylor and Siraj embroiled in a fight for third. The defending champion Mike Rasmus, DJ, trying to join them as well.
Yeah, he's trying to join him. And remember, Mike's had a little bit of a partial schedule this year, so he hasn't competed the whole way through. And for Mike to be able to get himself into P5 and looking to be able to maybe claim a podium position before everything is said and done, that is a real testament to the Nezumi Graphics LC driver's ability.
And of course, Phil Kraus, we might have expected to see more of him, but another one of the drivers on a somewhat partial schedule. Nezumi Graphics LC MadWorks. Now, I'm not sure if mathematically it's done and dusted in the HyperX Team Championship, but it's as near as makes no difference. Their championship at this point with Nezumi Graphics LC behind them, and then Raven Lavoie even further back. And while some of these drivers still have something to fight for, WMP Racing, that is a team that Marius Valiokis and Sean Campbell have been through. Sean Campbell carrying the load has been able, for the most part, to be able to bring that team up in towards the top 9, and therefore, when you look at his points as well, 884, he leads the ButtKicker rookie standings. But DJ, there have been some standout names as well, with the likes of Matt Wagner, Christopher Hill continuing in the closing stage of the championship to impress us.
Yeah, they certainly have. I mean, this has been the year of the rookie here in the Lionheart Retro Series, but those names have continued to be good and continue to bring their way along. And we've seen a few new rookies come on in, like the likes of Joshua Tucker here tonight, who's put on some pretty impressive performances over his first couple of rounds here in the series.
Absolutely. Looking forward to seeing how he's going to go. And some of these drivers go into next year as well, hoping now to build some confidence to the final 2 rounds, but also to the next season of this Lionheart Retro Series. And as we talk through the Gomez Sim Industry Series details, it's Season 7 of the competition. 10 years of Lionheart Racing competition, though. But this Lotus 79, with a custom fixed setup, all that the drivers have are their 2 hands, their 2 feet. It does put on some fantastic racing as we fight for our share of $3,600. 2 Triple Crowns in the books, 1 still left to come, and it's where our new champion will be crowned. Mike Grasmas somewhat out of things, of course, and the defending team champions, slightly new name, but same lineage, MadWorks, Nezumi Graphics LC, looking to secure that championship once again. But I think this is going to be a fun one. The arena event details see us talk about a race where the stats actually, DJ, do say qualifying's important. The winner has never come from lower than 3rd, and first won 3 times in a row, and race winners have often led the most laps as well. Clean air may be more important than one would think.
Yeah, I mean, very much so. To be able to get out in that clean air, yes, the ground effect is the majority of the downforce in these cars, but coming through the high-speed corners of this track, like the carousel, really like you're going to see on the 1st and 3rd corners, to be able to have that clean air pushing down on the car, it gives you a huge, huge advantage. So that is going to be a certain help for all of these drivers. The other thing, Arjuna, is to be able to build that gap. If you're able to get yourself out of draft range, it's going to find you very, very helpful. And
so here's the look, 4 and a bit miles, just over 6.5 kilometers, carved into Elkhart Lake, and it looks deceptively simple. 90-degree corners, but it's the way that the track falls and crests into each of these individual complexes that differs and makes it so unique. And DJ, makes it so fun as well, because 90-degree corners presents plenty of passing opportunities.
Yeah, they certainly do, Arjuna, but as you said, the rise and fall of this circuit, as we take a look here coming down through the hurry downs, that is what makes this track so very special. The rise coming up to the start-finish line, and then the fall down through the moraine sweep and building your way down to the lowest point of the track at turn 5. It really makes for a little bit of a roller coaster here, and you really have to feel everything out, because there are some corners like turn 6 that the way the track crests, it's really willing to come out and bite you if you're not careful.
It's a track that I enjoy, just jumping into the sim occasionally and pumping in a few laps no matter what car. But in this Lotus 79, it's always satisfying when you're nailing some of those different points around the track. Drivers are out there for qualifying, they get the track to themselves, and 4 flying laps, so plenty of time to build up their temperature and tires. But as they do so, it's time to thank those that make all of this possible, starting with HyperX. The Lionheart Racing Series is powered by HyperX, makers of premier gaming gear like the legendary ultra-comfortable Cloud line of gaming headsets. Whatever you play, however you play, HyperX knows we're all gamers. For more information on HyperX products, visit hyperx.com. Next Level Racing is an industry-leading cockpit and motion simulator manufacturer devoted to creating the most immersive experience possible for the global sim racing community. Take your racing to the next level and visit nextlevelracing.com. You're passionate about sim racing, but it always feels a little flat compared to the feeling of driving a real car. Now you can actually feel what it's like to drive a race car. ButtKicker haptic hardware and software are easy to install and let you feel every bump in the track. Slip of your tire and engine redline. The tactile feedback is so accurate and realistic, you'll be driving faster and having more fun than ever before. If you think sim racing is thrilling, try getting behind the wheel of a real race car. The BMW M4 GT4 experience at the BMW Performance Driving School in Thermal, California puts you in the cockpit of one of BMW's fastest cars, complete with roll cage and racing slicks. You'll get fitted with a racing suit, practice pit stops, and lap their track with pro instructors. Nothing virtual about their thrills. To book your M4 GT4 experience, call or visit the links on screen. Gomez Sim Industries are makers of high-end esports equipment and controls, precision-built using nothing but the best materials available today. Passion and handmade craftsmanship drive each made-to-order build, creating a driving experience like no other. Visit GomezSimIndustries.com. And Arena, an all-new esports streaming experience driven by real-time interactions between gamers and their communities. Arena brings live broadcast fan engagement to the next level. Get involved and make a difference on arena.tv. As it stacks up right now in the qualifying session as we continue our way through the ButtKicker pre-race show. It's a surprising name on top. It's not Sean Campbell. Instead, David Sirra, a man that, DJ, we do know can be fast in these Lotus 79s, sits on provisional pole position.
Yeah, he is one of those drivers that we really always like to talk about here. Sirra's experience on road courses in particular has always been something that has been a standout here for the Canadian driver. His oval expertise has come to play recently as well. This isn't the first time we've seen David on pole position, or at least on provisional pole, so a good run here for the number 99. Let's see if he's able to carry it on into the race itself.
In terms of the road course championship, it was 1 Sean Campbell, 2 Michael O'Brien. Now, Michael O'Brien has a end-of-line penalty, so he's not participating in this qualifying session right now. The benefit maybe in this particular race, there's only about 21 cars in the field. He may not have so much of a charge left to go, but DJ, he's going to be he's going to be leaving himself a lot of work to do. It's a 31-lap race, 16-lap fuel window. We've got not much strategy to really be talking about.
No, we really don't. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry here. You're going to run this car to the absolute limit, then fill it up again and run it to the limit again. And the crucial thing here to remember that we always talk about, Arjuna, is the fact that as these cars get lighter, they get faster. They are very, very weight-dependent machines.
90-odd seconds left on the clock. See that field spread. One thing that we have seen is it's important to lead laps, and even though the draft's going to be important here, it's easier said than done at times to sometimes stay inside of that draft. I don't know how much the car has changed outside of the new damage model, but that's always an exciting thing, DJ, is coming off a new iRacing build, trying to get to grips with what new things the car has to offer.
It very much is, and let's remember here, the way that the damage works on this car, now this is not like modern open-wheel cars that are built on sort of a clip system with the front and rear wings. You're not able to make a quick change in the pits, so if you get some damage on the front wing of this car, and it will probably be easier to pick up that damage as a result of the new damage model, you have to spend about probably a minute to a minute and a half getting that wing repaired. So that could have huge consequences, especially if there's a little bit of argy-bargy coming down into turn 1.
And so what you're saying is no bump drafting today, right?
No, I would not imagine there would be.
Let's hope so. Drivers always find a way to want to do that. So here come the final seconds of the qualifying session. Mike Rasmussen has just jumped up into second, the defending and outgoing champion. There's Luke Daniels on his way to the line. Not sure who still has the opportunity to improve, but with Matt Taylor currently now on provisional pole, David Sirra 2/10 off of the best. Taylor improves once more. Sirra runs out of time to get a better lap time in, I think.
Yeah, he does. He was about 500 yards shy there of the start-finish line, so he is going to have to bring himself back around here. A little disappointed to be finishing in only third.
I just saw a message pop into the YouTube chat as well. Sean Campbell had a technical issue that dropped him out of qualifying after just 1 lap being complete. Despite that, he's still going to be lining up in 4th position, so he's going to be quite happy with that, but ultimately would have maybe wanted to start from the very front. We'll see if now fuel mileage is going to come into play. We're ready to go, though, for the final road course race of the Lionheart Retro Series season. It's also the final race of 2023, and what fun do we have in store? Well, let's run down to the ButtKicker starting grid to find out. In his 64th career start, Matt Taylor is on pole for the 3rd time. He'll lead us to the green alongside his Nezumi Graphics LC teammate, the defending champion Mike Razmas, with David Sirah almost half a second off of the pole time in 3rd alongside Sean Campbell, the points leader, and the driver looking to wrap up the Road Course Championship tonight. It will be David Rodriguez in that magic fuel-saving tank of his inside of Alex Guillon, the 2nd of the Raven Lavoie Motorsports entries on the 3rd row of the starting lineup, with Joshua Tucker continuing to impress as a rookie back in 7th alongside Luke Daniel. Sam Ryman in the 40 Racewear contingent lines up alongside Rodrigo Munoz to round out your top 10, Craig Forsyth 11th, and Cristobal Valenzuela 12th, the 2nd of the Backfire Motorsports machines on that outside of the starting formation. Sam Fontaine, Jimbo Pfeiffer 13th and 14th positions, with Jim Herrick, George Anzaldo, Ricky Harden, and Matt Wagner. 18 cars with times on the board, and then just one more, Matt Taylor, before 2 drivers starting at the back, Michael O'Brien and Hugo Gallus. 21 cars strong in what should be a pretty fascinating race, all things considered. Now, we have plenty of time to not only talk you through some of the different storylines, but at least as the drivers initially roll away, maybe more importantly, to run you down through what I think in a couple of cases are going to be quite intriguing onboard cameras. We can jump on board with a charge from the very back because Michael O'Brien carries with him ButtKicker. Sim racing is better with ButtKicker. Visit thebuttkicker.com.
So move on up in the order. We're going to go to P3 with David Sirah, who carries on board with him the HyperX on board. Whatever you play, however you play, HyperX knows we're all gamers, and HyperX is always ready to game.
And the rookie Joshua Tucker carries, or is meant to carry with him Next Level Racing. Take your racing to the next level and visit nextlevelracing.com. Intriguing to see that. I know buyers apply tires, but the drivers are doing the wibble wobble and trying to get some temperature into the tires very, very early doors. Long formation laps, in my opinion, also sometimes lead to a little bit of tenseness on the start, DJ, and it's an intriguing start. A blind crest up towards the start-finish line.
Yeah, it is, and the pace car peels off relatively early here, coming up to that start-finish at Road America. Going to give control of the field to Matt Taylor very early on. And I've got to agree with you here, Arjuna. Very surprising to see a lot of drivers doing some weaving here at this point. We're talking about 116 degrees Fahrenheit track temperature right now. That is very, very toasty. Winds pretty high here as well, 14 kilometers per hour, 9 miles per hour coming out of this circuit. That's going to throw a little bit of a curveball here for these drivers.
I wouldn't. I would like some of those temperatures right now. I know you're down in LA, DJ, but up here in the Bay Area, it has started to cool down just a little bit.
I mean, to be fair, it is cool here as well. It's 61, which for us is jacket weather. So, you know.
What's that in the true and proper units? Oh, 16 Celsius. Okay, that is actually quite chilly, to be fair.
Yeah. Well, it's also it's a very cool heat because, you know, we're a city that was built in the middle of a desert.
Oh,
so
DJ, I grew up in Singapore where if it drops below 25 degrees Celsius, we've got a problem. So trust me.
There you go.
I appreciate the issue here. Anyway, through the carousel, this is not a passing opportunity as much as sometimes drivers want it to be. It's one of those corners, though, where as the tires potentially wear, it could be a one where you run off the track. It's something that, DJ, it's come into play maybe a bit more in 2023, is the fact that bias ply tires, yes, designed to go full race distances, but in the ever-evolving nature of iRacing and the tire model underneath these cars, we have started to see some tire changes over the course of a race.
Yeah, we have, and I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe see a tire change here over the course of this race. And remember, we're dealing with the old iRacing scan of Road America. This track has been resurfaced here at this point, and so that is going to be a little bit of a change here for them. But on this older surface, it is a little bit more abrasive. It is a little bit more wear on the tires. So maybe a strategic gamble to take a little bit extra time in the pit stop to change those tires. But I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe see somebody a little bit farther back of the field decide to be able to go to that strategy.
Are we both in agreement that for the most part we don't want to repave tracks and therefore we don't have a problem with having the older version of Road America for now?
I'll tell you what, the new pave of Road America, after you give it about a year of racing, I think next year it is going to be absolutely electric. They had some problems with offline running because the rubber wasn't there, but the on-track, online running was fantastic this past year.
Exactly. Give it a few years, then let's go and get it, but it will take some time to get there. What we know is today's going to be, well, hopefully a little bit nutty. Pace car off and away, competition, commitment, excitement. We're underway for the ButtKicker Grand Prix of Road America, presented by Arena TV. And instantly teammates try and work together as Matt Taylor tries to work with his teammate Mike Razmas in the draft. Razmas covers off Sean Campbell, but the points leader goes the long way around, loses some momentum as he avoids sliding into the gravel, and now defends from David Zira back up the inside. We're on the brakes somehow into turn 3 because corner numbers don't have to make sense, and every single one of the Lotus 79s gets through safely, even with a concertina at the back. Hugo Gallus, the sole driver, off into the grass.
Yeah, and I don't think that was contact. I think that was maybe just a misjudge of the braking zone here as they come down into turn 5 right now. Rasmus taking a little bit of look on the back of Taylor, movement in the back between Rodriguez and Guyon.
That's a big 3-wide moment, and Craig Forsyth said see ya, unfortunately off into the gravel. Might have been with one of the other Backfire Motorsports machines, and so as Forsyth drops to the back, out of the bridge section we come, through the hurry downs they climb, but now down in towards turn 7, turn 10, they brake once more. It's here into the carousel where you want to have a little bit of separation, but we haven't seen it just yet at the very front of the field. The big separation comes 9th and 10th position as we exit out of this long right-hander and into a corner where you've got to be brave. It's in towards the kink and then Canada corner.
Yeah, this is where you almost have to treat this track like an oval, timing your pass exactly right here. And it looks like that's exactly what Sean Campbell's trying to do as we take a look at the back there of Matt Taylor. Campbell forced to go the long way around as Rasmus goes defensive, trying to look this way, trying to look that way, and that has allowed for Siwa to be right back involved in this conversation.
Didn't mention that we have a big fuel window to keep in mind as there's an issue out of Canada corner, and it was Ricky Harden, I think, not hard into the wall, but off the track. Also off the track is Rodrigo Muniz as Jordan Zaldas slides his way on forward. A dramatic opening lap. This is 13th on back. That's lost a lot of ground to those in front that will continue to fight their way through. At the end of the opening lap, it's Taylor that holds on, that converts, but surely the fighting's not done and dusted.
No, I don't think it is here at this point, especially with the top 5 as closely bunched as they are. They're only separated by about 1.3 seconds. David Rodriguez a little bit farther off the pace. Take a look farther back in the field, some moving and shaking there as they try to be able to get everything together. Look at these runs, Arjuna. That's Jimbo Pfeiffer very, very close behind the back of Matt Telder.
And again, because they've all got fixed setups, you've got to assume that draft's got to be quite important. Campbell gets 1, Campbell can't get 2. He's through to 2nd, but Taylor holds on to the lead, only momentarily though. Out of turn 5, in through turn 6. It's the points leader to the front, and Sean Campbell doesn't want to wait. The WMP Racing number 26 is in front at Road America.
And that is a particularly difficult move to be able to get pulled off. They are going down into turn 6. That is a very awkward position to get the throttle back on. If you get a little bit too early there, your rear tires are going to spin up. That is absolute confidence in the car there from the number 26 of Sean Campbell.
And are we in agreement that he's a contender to break away at the front of the field? He's so confident that A, he went for the move, B, he's ducking and diving, trying to break the toe before we even get up in towards the kink.
Yeah, he wants to be able to get himself into position as much as possible. He's already got a gap of 0.5 of a second. He knows how crucial it is here to break the draft at Road America, and he is going to be pushing to try to extend this gap up to about a full second.
You did somewhat hear it there. There was a healthy amount of fuel saving going on for David Zira. He didn't just lift off the throttle. Seemed like he got onto the clutch as well. A margin out front, though, as he climbed up underneath the bridge and then the gantry that Barney the Flagman is watching on from. It's about 0.7 of a second between the front two. It's not a total breakaway, not a draft braking just yet, but it's a threat, that is for sure. As the second lap comes to a close, remember the fuel window sees these drivers go maybe as far as 16 laps in these conditions that we have. Let's see if we can cycle back to the start though and figure out first what happened to Hugo Gallus.
Well, it looks like there Hugo got a little bit out of whack coming down into turn 1. Down here into turn 2, he's clearly off of it. Just misses that apex there. I wonder if something was wrong with that car, because that is a very suboptimal line that you'd see the number 57 take. Now, this is what happened to Craig Forsyth. That looks like a little bit of ping pong coming down into 5.
Just a little bit. So Craig's on the outside. He puts himself there, and it is a really late send by Samuel Fontaine, who is his teammate, to be fair, in the 40 Racewear camp. But Fontaine not having a bad season in the ButtKicker rookie standings. Unfortunately, they've caused the demise of Forsyth's 53. He's still out there, albeit down in 18th position, 7 places down from where he qualified, and that was only a sampling of some of the incidents that we were watching. Mentioned that Ricky Harden went around. DJ, what happened to him into Canada corner?
Well, this is coming down here. Harden got a little bit of help there from the car on the inside, and that just put him offline there a little bit, tried to be able to get the car back up underneath him, and it looked like he wasn't able to do it. Here we're going to take a look on board there. Just a misjudge of it. I'm not sure if that was Harden moving over a little bit under braking. Just a little bit of an overeager move.
All's fair until things go wrong in these sort of machines. It was really the era of racing where you left it all out there and you trusted the driver alongside you was going to leave room, because otherwise it was getting terribly for both of you. And in the Lionheart Retro Series, for the most part, drivers recognize that as well. Just a little bit of a misjudgment there between the two. Sparks Fly is a part of the new damage model as the underside of the car bounces its way up its way into turn number 1, you would say. Is the draft broken? 1.5 seconds? I'd wager maybe it is.
Yeah, I think it is here at this point. As we look at the top speeds, we'll get an idea here coming down through the Moraine sweep on exactly what it is. Campbell getting up there of about 160, yeah, and Matt Taylor, they're going to be about 165 miles an hour. They're matching speed there, so that tells me that Matt Taylor does not have the draft.
And so if you're Razmas Rodriguez behind, my operating assumption is that you're probably thinking of saving fuel right now, and we heard it quite heavily earlier on as we were riding on board. This is where some of the battle packs are. George Anzaldo is just giving up a little bit of ground to Matt Telder, but in front of him, Rodrigo Munoz in the 09 Backfire Motorsports car leads. Matt Wagner, the rookie, is in 17th behind, and Craig Forsyth, despite having clattered back onto the ground with quite a lot of aplomb, DJ is running in 18th position.
Yeah, I mean, he's able to get himself back on here, and it doesn't look like there's too much damage on that car. And let's remember, we're not dealing with a carbon fiber monocoque. This is mainly aluminum that this car was built out of, so it'll take a little bit more of a lick sometimes than it would in the normal type of racing cars. So clearly, Forsyth, I'm not seeing any visible damage on the car. Clearly not that big of a hit, and he's going to be able to carry on right now and take the fight here to the back of the rookie, Matt Wagner. So
clearly the new damage model isn't working hard enough right now. There may be like the slightest bit of bodywork damage to the left rear wheel arch kind of thing, but it's so slight. It's not something that you're really going to be able to figure out and to pick apart, if we're being totally honest. 4 laps now in the books, and well, I think we have yes, draft being broken and history continuing to run its way on forward, because mentioned it slightly earlier. Running at the front, qualifying at the front, both pretty important. Sean Campbell's now 2.3 seconds clear.
Yeah, 2.3 seconds clear. That draft is most certainly broken here at this point, so he's going to be able to put himself in good position to be able to just work on that fuel saving. Now, he's not going to have the benefit of the draft here that the likes of Rasmus, Sirwa, and Rodriguez are going to have behind them, but he'll be able to clutch and coast. He'll be able to make things work up in the front, and, well, this looks like it may very well just be a battle for second on back.
And that's a battle that, hypothetically, I think could include some of these other drivers as well, because if they are fuel saving in front, it's going to allow these drivers just to sneak their way on in, and we have seen that undercuts, overcuts don't always necessarily work in the ways that people intend. Here's a look at the replay, because Alex Guyon had to jink out of the way at the very last moment of a very, very well calculated dive by Josh Tucker in that 46. And not just the 46 sliding on through. Luke Daniels took advantage. It's exactly what you need to do in these type of cars. And it's why I think Josh Tucker is someone that we're really going to keep an eye on moving forward into 2024.
Yeah, he's a driver here that frankly did a lot of what I did, which is just look for those opportunities to be able to take advantage of others' misfortune. You may not be the fastest driver out on the track, but if you're able to stay clean and green and keep things going around, you're going to be able to put yourself in contention to be able to take those positions away. And Tucker doing a good job here up into 6th, a 7th place qualifying run, a very, very good day starting out for the rookie.
Not a bad shot out the back with the sparks that we get to see. I've also been able to see just a couple of drivers very, very, let's say, sideways in the way that they're throwing the cars around. Matt Taylor is saving quite significantly as well, despite the fact that he's the one leading the charge. Lap time-wise, it's significant, I think, is the only way to say it. Sean Campbell, fastest of them all last time by, with a 1:53.4. Yes, you heard me correct. 1:53.4. A full second, DJ, faster than those behind.
Well, if you ever wondered why Sean Campbell is your championship leader, look no further than that stat. This man is just able to extract speed out of these cars like nobody I've ever seen. Campbell just putting on a masterclass here today, as he has done many times over the course of the season.
Is he saving fuel as well? It sounded like it for a moment, so we'll have to keep an eye on that, and maybe he's hitting a number 2. Matt Wagner slides in front of Jordan Zaldo as the diving back and forth just continues amongst some of these drivers. You can see how much they're working at the wheel. DJ, they're not doing what you were saying that you have done on occasion in this series in the past. Wait for opportunities. They're trying to find them.
No, and if you've got the speed, you've got the hustle, the other way to be able to get those opportunities really and truly is to put that pressure onto the back of another driver. As we said, there are so many overtaking opportunities on this Road America circuit. You can just kind of jink your way to one side, make a driver think you're going to go for a move, and you can do that corner after corner after corner here at Road America and just keep them in a constant state of paranoia.
Yeah, and Road America does have AI enabled on iRacing, so if you want to go and do some laps with AI, you can always do that too. It might help with small mistakes like that. Matt Taylor just runs a little bit too out wide, trying to open up the final corner, gets onto the grass, I believe, on entry, and that pirouettes the car around, and he seemingly dropped almost 4 positions there, unfortunately. Now finds himself down in the 18th position as still Matt Wagner leads this little choo-choo train that runs for 15th spot. This year has really flown past, DJ, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really has. I mean, it just seems like yesterday we were talking about starting the season off at Homestead, Miami, and obviously this the longest calendar year that we have ever run in Lionheart. The first time we have stretched on into 2024 with that schedule, but it just seems like it is breezed by.
Yeah, no, it really is December, apparently. Someone told me that, and I didn't believe them, but I wasn't dreaming. So, going to be curious how it's going to go next year. January the 4th, that's our first race. So, some of these drivers might still have the New Year's hangover persisting, but we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Michael O'Brien in that 45 is very much, by the way, taking advantage of this charge forward to be the hard charger of the day so far. He's 9 positions gained so far. He's not quite into the top 10. I don't think a victory is on the cards with the breakaway from Campbell, but I do think it's probably fair to say that DJ, there's a very realistic chance that O'Brien gets maybe not a podium, but at the very least a top 5.
Yeah, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility here by any stretch of the imagination for O'Brien. And let's be clear, we know the racing ability here of the Kiwi, being able to take victories, being able to take podiums over the course of the year. It's always an impressive run for him. And I think a top 5 is almost a certainty if he keeps all 4 tires on the black stuff, in a podium not out of the realm of possibility.
Now, you made sure to get his nationality right this time.
I got it right this time.
You know the problem, by the way, he's got it on the side of his car in the Retro Series. He doesn't in the Sports Car Series.
I know, he's trying to throw us off. That's really what it is. He wants us to mess it up, I'm convinced of it.
It's not fair. It's not fair. You got to make sure. Commentators are silly people. We need as many different helping things as you can give us. He does have the fastest lap right now, by the way, so I'm going to be curious to see if with the draft it just gets faster and faster, because we know one thing, DJ, these cars, as they burn the fuel, they get lighter and lighter, and, well, they become mini rocket ships in many ways.
They really do, and they become different cars to drive, Arjuna. When they are in their heavy, fuel-laden states, it's really and truly a situation where the cars almost feel sluggish. You've got to use a lot of trail braking to get the car to rotate through the corner. You've really got to sort of think about chucking it into the corner. The reverse of that then becomes true when you get into the latter stages of the race, and you really and truly have to watch out for that snap oversteer. You've got to watch out for the car just dancing and darting around on you. They become wildly different machines.
It's always interesting with these fixed setups as well, how those drivers adapt, right? Because you talk about on the brakes and stuff like that, different drivers always want different things, and when you can't dial things up the way that you're maybe accustomed to and the way that you would feel the most comfortable, you have to become comfortable at being uncomfortable. It's one of those things that doesn't make sense. One thing that does make sense, though, Sean Campbell steals the fastest lap back. So, well, let's see if we can jump on board. And is he going to save any fuel into turn 3 or he's doing it into turn 3? Will he do it into turn 5?
I've got to imagine he will, Arjuna. I mean, both of those areas are prime overtaking opportunities. Turn 1 here on the Lotus 79, a little bit more of a brush braking corner. It's not nearly as heavy braking, but let's listen as he comes down into 5.
Yep.
Big time.
Sometimes you're faster while saving fuel. That's the scary thing. You can roll more momentum into the corner, and so if you know what to do with that, sometimes it could be good. Road America maybe doesn't seem like the most natural candidate because there are so many long straights, but he's doing it. He's doing it everywhere.
Well, that just shows me an ease and a comfortability behind the wheel of this machine. He feels like he is able to fuel save wherever he wants to go, and able to do so where he doesn't have to worry about that attack from behind. 4 seconds, 4.2 seconds, the gap now between himself and Matt Taylor. There's a visual representation. He is just cruising here at this point.
He doesn't have the cruise control on just yet, and you know how we know that?
How?
He's not in the YouTube chat just yet.
No, there it is. There it is.
As soon as he's in YouTube chat, we're like, okay, the Sean Campbell's on cruise control mode. Road America does have some long straights, so you never know.
Yeah, it certainly does. One of the longer straights in North America. They're coming down the back straightaway in between turn 3 and turn 5. The Moraine Sweep, obviously, they're constituting turn 4. And, well, as you said earlier, a little bit silly in the way the corner names are here.
No, let's not do this. No. You're going to get me off on a tangent. No.
It's too early in the race.
No, we have decided that it's a good thing that some of these corners have names.
Yes, it is, because we're able to just call them out and be able to let them know what they are.
I don't know what corner number Canada is, by the way. I just know it's Canada Corner.
Yeah, I don't know either, off the top of my head.
Because the logic that people will give about, the corner numbers are just the Marshall huts. As an engineer, if someone tells me, I'm having an issue in turn 10, and I look at a map and I go, wait, but turn 10's not actually turn 10, it's the Marshall huts in turn 7. Why are you calling it? I don't know. Anyway, this is, I said don't get me off on the tangent. Somehow we're almost 10 minutes into this one. It's flying on past just like 2023 has. And so we can kind of reminisce, I think, in some ways, because DJ, the drivers have seen a tease of the schedule for our next season. And what a season it's been. The longest of Lionheart history in the Retro Series with 22 races. And some really unique tracks we've been to as well.
Yeah, some very special tracks. I mean, some of the old familiar favorites like Michigan, like Homestead, obviously like this circuit that we're running on here in the form of Road America. This is one that we always seem to go to, but this is certainly been a great season for these cars, and I'm kind of excited to see what they're going to be able to do next year. There's some exciting things coming our way, and I'm, for one, very intrigued to see what some of the new options that iRacing has put on. Are we maybe going to see a trip over to Europe? Some of the new circuits that have come onto the iRacing service from the European side. Will we see a trip over there?
I was getting so excited I left myself on mute. Yeah, Mugello. Mugello has just been added. I think that's going to... Ooh, that's a moment for David Rodriguez as he gets off the clutch. Seemingly had already downshifted, and the rear end snaps out on him because they were spinning too fast for what he was doing, and well, hangs on to it. Not ideal. That's uncomfortable.
Yeah, just a little bit. You never want to have that kind of snap moment, and that tells me more than anything he is starting to lose a little bit, not only of the tire wear necessarily. Track conditions, remember, up at 116 degrees Fahrenheit, but that car is getting lighter, and he is starting to wrestle with a little bit of oversteer.
Wrestling their way into the top 10, Michael O'Brien has just gone past Sam Ryman in the 40 racewear blue and orange machine, or rather the black and orange machine directly behind. The blue and orange machine is going to be next up. That is Cristobal Valenzuela. And then after that, Guyon, Daniels, and a bit of a margin up towards Tucker. And then the gap for second, the peloton that continues to chase down. As under the pedestrian bridge they will go, with Sparks continuing to fly up behind them with 10 laps now being in the books. We're realistically, 5 or 6 laps away. 16-lap fuel window. Would you want to do an undercut or an overcut? It's pretty simple here, DJ. You're either pitting on the 15th lap or the 16th lap.
I would say go for the overcut around here. That's going to allow you to be able to build a little bit more speed on a lighter fuel tank. Again, the longer you're able to run on that light fuel tank, the better off you are going to be, Arjuna, and I think that is the way to go.
If you're saving this much fuel, I don't know. The other thing to remember is, while in the real world, especially in the IndyCar series in particular, Road America has a 2-stage pit entry. You slow down to 1 speed for the first part up the hill, and then you slow down to a 2nd speed as you get into the what in real motorsport you call the hot part of pit lane, where crew members are, and you need to be a little bit more careful about things. You don't have that here, and the other mitigating problem is the lack of a speed limiter, and not being able to see where the cones are as you come up the hill. And for that reason and that reason alone, I would want to be at the front of whatever queue I'm in so I can control the tempo of coming down onto pit lane. And is that why David Sirwa is taking some half glances here and there to try and sneak past the number 1 machine?
I think that's exactly what he's trying to do here at this point. You want to be in that position. You want to find yourself into a position where you're able to dictate the tempo, and that may be what causes some of these drivers to want to stay out for an extra lap or two here at this point. If you're able to keep things going, if you're able to take it that extra lap and be able to gain a 10th, maybe even a half a second going down into pit lane, which is very, very possible to do here at Road America. As you said, charging that pit lane, a big, big strategy. I think that could dictate more than maybe your fuel economy when you want to come on in.
It's been so long since I did some actual serious driving that now that I've got VR, and it's been tempting me back into iRacing a little bit more, it's gotten me wanting to do some more competitive racing, as Sierra got a bit of a slide going there, a 4-wheel slide as well, because there is nothing like this, and there's nothing that can prepare you for moments like this, DJ, when you're sitting in these queues and on the edge of your seat. You're literally thinking, even if you're not that close to the driver in front, if you're sitting slightly further behind, you're saving a bit of fuel, you're thinking, I cannot make any mistakes. You're sweating. You've got to get every little thing right.
Yeah, and your blood is going to be just pumping here at this point because of exactly what you said, Arjuna. You know you have to be on it. And if you're in a train like this, it's one thing to be the driver that is chasing down another driver and knowing that you can't make those mistakes. It's another thing entirely to be sitting in the position that Mike Rasmus is here at this point, where he's got to be looking ahead and behind him at the same time. That just raises your blood pressure, and as a driver you have to try to mitigate that as much as you can. Keep that down and push all of those feelings down and drive without emotion. It's such a difficult thing to do, but it's what makes some of the drivers here in the Lionheart Retro Series so incredible, the fact that they're all able to do that here and run in trains like this.
Remind me, when you raced this series, did you use an H-pattern shifter, or were you paddles all the way?
No, I was paddles, but I mean, you do have to blip the throttle and do those kind of things to be able to get it to run. So I did my best to make it feel as manual as possible, but I did not have an H pattern.
Do you think it's more difficult to remember to blip without an H pattern? It's a hypothesis that I have, and maybe some of the drivers can help clarify. Michael O'Brien's up the inside and now through into 8th position. And almost into the gravel as well. I don't think he's got an H pattern shifter. He may be able to tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, he may be able to. It certainly makes it easier to be able to do those shifts with an H pattern gearbox. I'll tell you that right now. It really and truly makes it feel a lot more natural when you're blipping the throttle on a paddle shifter. It feels a little bit unnatural. It feels a little bit sort of counterintuitive almost.
Yeah, in the same way that to some people, I'm sure driving a NASCAR stock car around tracks where you do have to sometimes get on the shifter, especially in the olden days with the H pattern, would cause them issues. I don't know. It's a great thing about sim racing is you can try stuff out even if you don't have the hardware necessarily to go and do it. I would encourage you all to go buy a handbrake though, just because there's nothing that makes you smile quite like a child than yoinking on a stick and your car going around in a big puff of smoke. Michael O'Brien, fortunately, no smoke as he initially gets past Luke Daniels, but up through turn 6. Daniels tries to defend, has to concede eventually, and O'Brien's through to 7th, and now 7 seconds. Oh goodness, that gap's really grown as Josh Tucker in front.
Yeah, it has, but I want to give some credit here to Josh Tucker that you just mentioned. We sent some good rises here from the rookie early on, up 1 position. He's holding on to the back here of this train for 2nd place position. Tucker is holding his own and not really putting himself in that position that we talked about where he's waiting for an opportunity to open up in front of him. He has taken this with both hands, and he is fighting for these positions.
Yeah, and it's from what I understand, a setup that the series veterans will be familiar with. The car hasn't necessarily changed from previous trips to Road America, and so they've come with that knowledge from previous outings as to how to get fast. Sean Campbell doesn't need much experience, let's be completely honest. He's one of those aliens, as we call them in sim racing, jump into any car at any time and can find ways to be fast. You're not very fast when you're in the gravel, though, as both Alex Guyon and Luke Daniels were.
Yeah, and I think that's a little bit of target fixation there from Luke Daniels. That last corner on this Road America circuit, very, very difficult. No, excuse me, there was actually contact there. Daniels carrying a little bit too much speed into the corner and collecting Guyon as a result of that. Clipped the grass on the outside. That sent the car around. Guyon able to get it back and turn around with hopefully minimal damage there on that Lavoie machine. That is not what you want to see outside of your mirror.
I wonder what Sam Ryman thought as he rode his way on through. As we see the view out of the 40 Racewear car, he slides up the inside, as does one of the Backfire Motorsports machines, and they go on through. And as we're now on to lap 15, it's hypothetically the opening of the pit stop window. David Sirois ducks and dives, but doesn't look to try and get past Mike Razmas for 3rd position, the final step on the podium, but out through the carousel. 5.5 seconds between Sean Campbell, Matt Taylor, and Mike Razmas behind as they all try and battle for the final road course win, not just in 2023, but of this Lionheart Retro Series. I want to see, I'm calling it now, DJ, I want to see someone try something, someone come down to pit lane.
Yeah, I'd love to see it here at this point. I mean, the last thing we really want to have happen just from a sheer fan perspective here, Arjuna, is these drivers pushing as long as they go and everybody coming down together. That's not going to make things nearly as interesting. We want to see these drivers push and claw and go and try to maybe make a little bit of a different pit stop strategy, but unfortunately, none of the leaders at the moment look like they're going to be doing it.
Here we go. Come on, Josh Tucker.
There we go.
There's a reason why we were singing his praises. And he shows off one of the defining characteristics of the pit lane. It's uphill blind entry, and the lack of speed limiter means that you've got to very much probably go in a little bit more tentatively than you'd want to. As Rodriguez, a big wiggle off the corner, another sketchy moment there. It does seem as though they are driving on the edge, despite the fact that they're fuel saving.
Well, I mean, this is the time to push the cars here, Arjuna. This is the moment. Because you are on the low fuel, they are going to be faster than they are at any other point over the course of the race. As it's not just Tucker that comes down into pit lane, by the way. Valenzuela, Fontaine, Daniels, Herrick, Munoz, Anzaldo, Forsyth, and Wagner all choosing to make their pit stops.
And I think it's a product, right, of the full formation lap. It's 4 and a bit miles, 6.5 odd kilometers. It's not insignificant. It eats away at the fuel reserves that you have, and so it means you've done a 15-lap stint plus the one that you would have done on the formation lap, 16 in total, and now you need to do another 16, but this time at full race chat. The drivers that have done the fuel saving to do the hard work, to do the one extra lap, though, will be in a very nice spot. They'll put 15 laps in, and they won't have to worry about fuel saving. How willing will you be to risk it, though? Because iRacing got a great new feature added in 2023, TJ. It's the auto fuel system. It calculates how much fuel you've been using and then sets up your pit stop for you. But if you've been saving fuel and it's calculating based on that, you're going to need to save once you're out of pit lane as well.
Yeah, you certainly are. This is the eternal problem when we talk about these kind of races, is it looks like this pack in P2, they're all going to come down in Taylor, Rasmus, Sirwa, and Rodriguez. Everybody trying to just extract that last little bit that they can before they get down into pit lane.
It was 8 drivers who were able to extend for an additional lap, and so you see Sean Campbell at the very front. You'd expect him to roll off and away, still with his race lead intact. Now, it's important, though, that no one gets a speeding penalty. Have not seen anything across my board just yet, but as Campbell gets into the marks, no tires being changed from what it seems. Here we go. Is anyone else going to go on the jacks?
Looks like nobody is here at this point. Campbell already in and out, 9.6 seconds. That's a little bit longer than we've seen from a couple other drivers, but it looks like Rasmus, Rodriguez, Sirwa, they're very quick. Sirwa in particular, a 9.2 second pit stop. The big loser there, Matt Taylor, 11.6.
And maybe no surprise, given that we, of course, have seen him at the front punching the hole in the air. Maybe the biggest shock is the fact that Josh Tucker has come out off the back of these drivers. The overcut not working for him despite a shorter pit stop than some of those in front. He's closer to Michael O'Brien than he would have wanted. So it's 6.5 odd seconds between first and second, but it's Sean Campbell and Mike Rasmus now 1 and 2. And David Rodriguez saving the most amount of fuel of anyone, putting the least amount in at the one and only pit stop. I talked about his magic fuel saving tank. Finds himself up 2 positions into a podium spot right now, DJ.
That's good running for Rodriguez. Exactly what we'd expect him to be able to do. A very, very quick pit stop there for him. Remember that race from Iowa that I was a part of. I still am not sure he was able to do that legally. But nevertheless, able to get a good run here, and he's going to put himself in prime position.
Still under investigation for that one, some have suggested. But with 16 laps complete, the one and only pit stop cycle now in the books, it is still Sean Campbell that leads, and he's on his way not just to closing off 2023 on top of the Drivers' Championship, but the Road Course Championship will be his in maybe just 15 or so more laps. Don't go anywhere on RaceSpotTV. The run to the end of round 20 of the Lionheart Retro Series, the ButtKicker Grand Prix of Road America, is coming up. Welcome back to RaceSpotTV and the run to the checkered flag in round 20 in the Lionheart Retro Series. It's the final race in 2023, and it's the ButtKicker Grand Prix of Road America. Arjuna Kankipati alongside DJ Clark for all of the action, and with 18 laps complete, one pit stop done, it's Sean Campbell that leads, and by a decisive margin right now. It's the fight for second, the fight for third that continues to intrigue, and it's really a bit of a breakaway that maybe is determined on fuel and what has been played out in the pit stops. DJ, David Rodriguez increasingly under pressure from David Sirwa for third position.
Yeah, Sirwa knows his fuel numbers here at this point, and he looks like he is trying to push as much as possible to get himself into position to maybe try to force Rodriguez to make a mistake here at this point in the running. He's shown good solidarity here, but as we talked about earlier, with just as many chances on this circuit to make an overtake, this is going to cause Rodriguez to constantly be looking in his rearview mirror.
Yeah, and it's not a comfortable spot. It's something that we saw Matt Taylor kind of being unfortunately stuck in slightly earlier, and so as you jump on board with David Sirwa riding up in towards Canada corner, you can just see the look to the inside, doesn't really commit, and that's something that Sirwa's done quite often. Half commit, then slides wide under braking, allows Matt Taylor to close on back up as a result of it, and sometimes you do just have to be a little bit more assertive and decisive, but Sirwa's recognized that it's not worth it right now. He thinks there's still time to go for it later on. And we're coming to the end of lap number 19. Left side of the screen is going to tick down to what should be 12 laps to go. 12 long laps, though, at Road America. And we were mentioning this earlier. It's situations like these, DJ, where you're in line, you're running relatively close to cars in front of you, trying to stay out of the grass, keep out of trouble, that really test your mental fortitude.
Yeah, you have got to just be absolutely crystal clear here. You cannot make a mistake. You cannot run yourself into problems. And you've got to just make sure that you keep everything together. You cannot run the risk of going just a little bit offline here. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in problems. There's such a rhythm and a flow to this circuit, Arjuna. There's really no way to run it the incorrect way.
I think that's going to be most true when we get a little bit of rain, a little dusting of rain around the track as well. But that is very much a 2024 conversation. iRacing talking more and more about the little details that are going to make up that rain system, and maybe inadvertently, DJ, giving us a little bit of a sneak preview as to what the weather forecasting system is going to look like.
Yeah, very excited about that, iRacing. Obviously, there was a lot of speculation that we could be seeing it here for the 2024 season release here. Unfortunately, that did not take place. iRacing, frankly, Arjuna, doing something that I am very happy with, saying, you know what, we want to work out all the kinks. We want to make sure when we release this, it's absolutely perfect, and waiting to do that until they feel that everything is right in point.
Can we just release it for the carnage, though?
I mean, the carnage is going to be great. And think about what can happen in a race such as this, where it seems like we've got a breakaway leader and rain is going to get thrown into the equation. How are you going to handle that? How is everything going to be told with all of that? It's going to be fantastic to be able to see.
And because you've got these bias ply slick tires as well, they are going to be... Is parachutes probably the most effective way to describe what they're going to do in the rain? I don't know what the right adjective is, but suboptimal, that's for sure. Yeah,
it's going to be suboptimal, and it's going to be interesting. Let's not forget that this Lotus 79 did run in some very adverse conditions over the years, so it's not exactly going to be easy for them to get to go, but we've got some action on track.
Finally, it was building. David Sirwa has been looking, and finally the mistake from Rodriguez. He'll be potentially passed by his Nezumi Graphics counterpart, Matt Taylor, who slides on forward to fourth, but all of this has allowed Mike Razmas 2.3 seconds clear to slightly break away. And importantly, break away, because the Jaws music gets queued up. Michael O'Brien's closing on a podium spot.
Yeah, he's bringing this on down and bringing it close here at this point. How is O'Brien going to be able to hold this out? How is he going to be able to see what he is able to do? It's going to be pretty fascinating to see what he's able to get done here at this point. But O'Brien coming on strong.
14 positions gained so far today. That's not too bad. He's going to unfortunately come up short in the fight for the win, but I don't think second. I said it earlier that a podium might be a stretch too far. I'm going to retract that statement. We'll have to wait and see. 10 to go this time by, it should be, as back towards the line these drivers come. And you mentioned the warm track conditions that we have. None of the drivers took tires. DJ, it's going to be quite telling. I think the later we get on into this race, who is sliding around the most, who's struggling the most, and who's got the most tire life still left to work with.
Yeah, I think that's very, very true. Track temperature 47 degrees Celsius, still holding at about 116 degrees Fahrenheit. You've got to look after the tires here at this point, Arjuna. You can't let them go to naught. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in very big problems. You've got to be watching not only the fuel wear that we've been talking about over the course of this entire race, but you've got to make sure that you keep those particularly rear tires underneath you.
Lap times have fallen off compared to the fastest laps that were being punched in slightly earlier, but part of that's a little bit more fuel. Part of that is also, you have to assume, the amount of sliding we're seeing from some of these drivers. Jim Herrick, despite having seen plenty of drama around, has been able to stay out of trouble. He's in front of Rodrigo Munoz, 12th and 13th positions out on track, and one of a handful of little pockets that you do have. It's one of those tracks which I really do feel promotes great racing, but I think kind of like what we were seeing from David Sirra before, because of some of these changes in elevation, especially down into turn number 5, gravity works against you, DJ. You always feel like you're not braking early enough.
No, you really don't, and it always seems like you're just carrying a little bit extra speed into that corner, and it's always terrifying when you come down into that zone. You've got to constantly be on it. You've got to constantly be watching, waiting for that to come. And when you've got another car in front of you, that's going to throw you off a little bit. It's going to throw off what you think you need to do, because you need to brake earlier. You need to be a little bit more confident on the binders as you come in, and to try to even get that move. Good job here from Munoz, and even better run here for him coming around the last couple of corners. He's going to have a run into Canada corner, I think.
The problem is, did the run come too early, as he then had to lift off in through the kink? He's back into the draft and back onto the throttle, but seemingly not alongside or close enough to have a lunge up the inside, and then a bit of understeer through Canada corner, sees him drop back slightly and have to regroup and reform his attack. It's one of those things where sometimes you set up and you're trying different things over and over until it sticks, but with 9 laps to go, David Sirra has been able to work his way forward to third, has closed the gap last time to Mike Razmas by 0.3 of a second. So I think this train is going to close up to Razmas. The problem is, I think they're bringing O'Brien with them as well.
Yeah, I think they are, and that's not going to be good news. I mean, we've seen the pace here out of O'Brien over the course of the day, and his fastest lap is about 0.3 of a second faster, 0.1 of a second faster than Rodriguez in front of him, multiple tenths faster than the other drivers in front of him. That is not what they want to hear.
Absolutely not. You can see the last lap times on the left side of the screen. Campbell fastest of them all with a 52.282, but only a handful of drivers really popping into the 52s with him, not included in that bracket. Razmas or Sirra. We'll see if that changes this time at the line. I've heard many a story for why it's called Canada Corner. Not sure which one is true, as David Rodriguez, almost finds himself off into Canada. He ran himself into the gravel a little bit too hot.
Yeah, a little bit close there at that point, but he's able to keep it underneath him. Now he's going to find himself just a little bit off the running here at this point, and O'Brien's got some more prey right in front of him. Could he go up 15 positions here with 8 laps to go?
It's a very, very real possibility, and you've got to think with that mistake, does Matt Taylor feel the need to get past Sirra? Not into turn number 1, ducks back out of it, but it's starting to get more intense with 8 laps to go. It might not be for the win, but Sean Campbell has this nasty knack of making his way to the front and then breaking away and leaving those to fight for the crumbs behind, and he's done so once more. 52.261 was his last lap time. O'Brien proves, though, that he's got that sort of pace when he can conjure it up. It's a 52.561 for him.
Yes, it is. Let's see what he's able to do with it here at this point as we focus in on the battle, though, between Sirois and Taylor. Taylor starting to put some pressure from behind to see if he's able to get anything to play.
Yeah, the traffic might be a factor, it would seem. No, that's just Mike Rasmus. I was getting confused with the paint scheme. Some of these drivers do go through paint schemes. I don't think Mike Rasmus is one of those. But at least this is not GT3 racing, where some teams have identical liveries for all their different cars. At least the majority of the teams make it as easy as they can for us commentators to figure out who is who running around the track. 13 minutes or so to go based on the number of laps that we've got left in this one. And I think Michael O'Brien is going to shape up David Rodriguez. Not into Canada corner necessarily. No, he's going to look. He's not going to go for it. I think turn one's going to be where O'Brien launches his way through, slingshots his way on past, and then maybe Rodriguez will cycle in behind and close back up in the battle for the podium.
Yeah, I think that could be the option here at this point to see what he's able to do. They're going to work their way down into the corners here at this point, trying to tuck up behind right now. Are they as they climb over the hill? O'Brien 0.04 of a second behind. Is he going to poke his nose to the inside? Yes, he is. Here he comes.
And it was a great run at that final corner and already alongside, but stalled out in the lack of the draft. Rodriguez sends it under the brakes. It's the Zumi Graphics LC side by side, but with the Madworks car willing to stick it up the inside, down into turn 3, not done and dusted. Brave from Rodriguez to try and sail it the long way around. He's in front once more, but feeding the draft once again.
Yeah, and he got a big wiggle there coming off of turn 3. Now that's going to put O'Brien back into consideration, and he may even have this pass almost done before they get into the braking zone.
Indeed, for a moment did have himself clear, but Rodriguez fights back. O'Brien leaves a little bit too much room, and Rodriguez says thank you very much, gobbles it up. Great fighting. What's it done, though? Cost them a second on track. They're now 3 seconds off the back of third.
And this is terrible news here, especially for Michael O'Brien. I don't think he's going to be able to close in nearly as much as he wants to here at this point. This could put him in massive, massive disadvantage for him as they try to get themselves back around.
There you can see Sirois being able to reestablish a couple of car lengths in front of Taylor for third. They've stalled out on the closing rate to Rasmus. It is still 1.6 seconds. O'Brien and Rodriguez might be just waiting and hoping that if Sirois closes for second, that what they were doing, putting on a show for us, is repeated once more. And here comes the look from the Kiwi, backs out of it. Rodriguez goes deep again. Here comes the 45. His path gets blocked off, though. More time being lost for the two of them.
Yeah, more time being lost. O'Brien not able to send the move through Bill Mitchell Bend. They come through the final corner here at this point, trying to get the run off of it. Looks like they're both through pretty cleanly. Little bit of kick at the dirt there for O'Brien. He's going to be trying to fight up hard. Here comes the draft.
Oh, look how powerful it is as well. He closes, he pulls to the inside, and it's with utmost ease. He's already clear, I think. Can Rodriguez be brave once again? Is it deja vu into turn 1? No, it's not. The 45 finally through. The battle's not done, though. It's just one stage in this multi-pronged battle that we've seen. Out of turn 3, who gets the better run?
All right, let's see here if Rodriguez is able to fight back. Again, as you said here, Arjuna, the draft going to be coming into play. Let's see if he's got anything. I don't know if he's going to be close enough. This is going to have to be a brave move on the brakes.
O'Brien half covers the inside, half covers the middle at the same time. He will force Rodriguez the long way around and, well, takes his momentum onto the outside curbing, and now 5 seconds to the deficit of third position. A long way to go to try and close up to Sirois, to Taylor, to maybe Rasmus. They'll have 5 laps next time by.
Only 5 laps to be able to try to get anything done in that gap, as you said here, 4.3 seconds for O'Brien. Meanwhile, Taylor has dropped off the back here of David Sirois ever so slightly, about 0.6 of a second as they drive.
He was flat there, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. In these cars, you can take the kink flat. It's terrifying, but you can do it.
And that's how you know we're at the end of the race right now. None of these drivers are going to lift. But that's where I was also kind of mentioning earlier. You don't want to get the run out of the carousel too early. You ideally want to get as close to the rear end of the car in front of you after the apex of the kink, and as you're on your run into Canada corner, not always going to get it. You can't guarantee what's going to happen to the car in front of you. That's what you're setting up for. That's what you're hoping for. And every lap that you go through, having to lift off in that kink, that's equally sketchy as well.
Yeah, very, very much so. The kink, no matter how you take it, is sketchy. It's terrifying. It is one of the most hair-raising corners on any racing surface you will ever see. And the full commitment you have to throw to it is absolutely fantastic to watch.
I mean, Catherine Legg's crash all those years ago just epitomizes the level of dedication that race car drivers need around a track like this. And it has retained its old-school nature, right? It's got grass runoff, yes, and then, well, there's no Armco. For the most part, it's concrete walls and maybe some tires in front of them.
Yeah, it really is, and I've seen some pretty brutal hits around this circuit. Actually, right where we just went through is, oh, we've got a car off in the back. That's Luke Daniels.
I don't think it's the first time he's gone around in the final corner. It's a place that we see many car unfortunately go around, and I have the feeling it's going to be a completely solo incident, because we were looking directly in front of Luke Daniels at Jim Herrick, at Rodrigo Munoz, and so as we take a look at it, indeed, it's all by his lonesome.
Yeah, just a little bit of a snap of oversteer there. I wonder if that was maybe just the rear tires locking up on him as he came down into the corner. The wheel was relatively straight, so a little bit strange there, but maybe just a little bit of change here on these tires, throwing things out for him.
Rodrigo Munoz, Jim Herrick have swapped around, so Munoz up to 12. I do think race control is going to have a couple of things to look at the start of the race, but for the most part, in the post-race report, should not expect anything too dramatic, too drastic in terms of changes and chopping and changing towards the front, especially given Sean Campbell's got an 11 and a bit second lead. Mike Razmas, that is down to 1.5 seconds, so we could still have a fight for second. Matt Taylor increasingly seems like he's stalled out and at arm's reach from David Seward in that number 99 Raven Lavar Motorsports entry. Still a couple of laps to go though, and weather hasn't really cooled off here on iRacing Day. 1:57 p.m. as lap traffic's going to slingshot Seward and Taylor down the exit of turn 3. You've got to wonder where the tires are right now and who's crying out the most that, oh, I wish I could have taken a tire or two in the pit stop.
Yeah, I mean, that could be it here at this point for these drivers as they try to be able to figure that out and try to get it right on board there with Taylor. Not too much of a wiggle coming up over turn 6. That's really where I'd expect it to run off.
It's the coming over the crest that's so unsettling there, and then counter to that is down into the next braking zone. The car squats down as you stomp onto the brakes, and the weight transfers underneath you. Yeah, it is deceptively simple, this track, right? In that you can lap around it pretty easily. You might not be very fast around here, though. To get the most out of a track like this does require years of expertise. And to your point earlier, where we were talking about repaving, I would be very, very curious. Give it a year or two. Let's see how the lines develop off the regular racing line. And then we can get a better judgment, because I get the sense Laguna Seca is going to be a similar situation as well, where give it a year or two, and then you're going to see some great racing there.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think once you get all of that playing in at Laguna, at some of these tracks that you've seen, it's going to be absolutely marvelous racing to be able to see for all of these circuits. It's going to be really, really remarkable. And I'll tell you what, Arjun, I mean, just look at the times that we saw over the course of this year. I mean, we're talking about very, very fast times that are coming here at Road America. It's just a matter of putting rubber down on the track, particularly offline, and then we are ready to play.
The one issue with that, though, is by the time that we get the racing good, as in the offline as worn in and whatever else we need to get to whatever we want as an ideal state, the track won't be quick enough to go and do those lap records necessarily anymore, unless, for an example, let's take GT3 machinery, the most common sports cars in the world at this point. Unless suddenly GT3 cars are going to go seconds a lap faster, lap records may end up holding.
Yeah, they very well might. We'll just have to see how they necessarily play themselves out here. As we said, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fascinating to see, and that's one of the things that we see quite often across the U.S. with these repaves that continue to come on in, is just how these tracks evolve over the course of time.
And what were you saying about turn 6 and the rear end? And this is how we know who's feeling good and who's not feeling good. David Rodriguez off into the grass, and only some damage to the ego, fortunately. He's a bit close to Josh Tucker, but still in 6th position.
Yeah, still in 6th position, so he'll be in feeling relatively okay here at this point, I would have to imagine, as they now get themselves back around. He'll try to see what he can do. Tucker, though, still about 5 seconds off of that battle up for P6.
And to Michael O'Brien's probably now wondering, oh, you could have not fought me so hard all those laps ago, and we could have been closer to those in front. But moot point at this phase of the race, and ultimately Mike Rasmus is doing a sterling job of just once again arm's reach to David Sirwa, who's back out to almost 2 seconds behind second spot. Suddenly Taylor, like a cat chasing a piece of cheese on a string, is closed back into that number 99. It's down to a car length, maybe 2, as out of turn 3 they dive down, back onto the power they go, and it's 2 laps to go. For Matt Taylor, time's running out. 2 more laps to get it done.
2 more laps to get it done. He's going to have to fight for it here at this point if he wants to try to get anything to play. Here as they go. Taylor very close behind, though, in Sirwa, although he's running out of the opportunity to be able to get those braking zones to play out for him.
Didn't mention earlier that basically every corner at Road America is a passing opportunity, and so don't think it's just limited to turn 1 to turn 5 and to Canada Corner. It really could come anywhere out of the hurry downs if you wanted through the carousel, but it takes a braver man or a braver driver, a man or woman, than DJ or myself to make something like that stick. As much as I've tried it even on AI, it's never worked well for me.
Yeah, I can't really say I've been able to have it do it, and let's be clear, I'm not the bravest driver in the world. I'm in a relatively safe pair of hands, but not the bravest driver you'll ever meet.
So does that mean that in an endurance race, do we want you as the driver in the middle of the night, staying out of trouble and keeping things clean?
Yeah, that's exactly my role. That's exactly what you want me to do.
So you're the sweeper. Also very important at every hour of the race, because there may just be times when you want to stay out of trouble. Now, we're on to the final lap. We haven't seen much of Sean Campbell today. That's probably going to continue because these two still in draft, and you've got to think Taylor's closed it down even closer this time as they crossed the timing beam. It was less than 2 tenths, and Sirwa felt the need to almost dive to the inside wall. He went so defensive. Taylor forces his way to the outside. It's going to be the drag out of turn 3 that will see them run to turn 5. All this is great, but there's no help in front. David Sirwa is going to act as a bit of an anchor here, you'd have to imagine.
Yeah, I've got to imagine he will be a little bit here at this point. Let's see what happens, though, as they come down. Sirwa clearly looking in his rearview mirrors here at this point, trying to be able to hold it off as Taylor tries to send the move down to the inside, but he's too far back. Interesting
that Sirwa didn't choose to cover off the inside, which would have also let him be a bit slow on exit and cover the inside into this corner. It's all about the gamesmanship right now, the racecraft between the two, and I kind of think the margin between those two cars as they exit out of the hurry downs, Matt Taylor's too far behind to have a look into Canada Corner.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get it. I think Sirwa did what he needed to do here. I think he's going to be able to hold on to a podium position.
Witchcraft of the Jedi mind trick type there for David Sirwa to hold on, but here comes Campbell towards the line, and let's be real, DJ, what has been a flawless race to close out an almost flawless 2023.
I mean, when you talk about domination, you talk about Sean Campbell. It's a great run for him here at this point as he's getting ready to cross the line.
It's just another victory in many that Sean Campbell's collected. He is the 2023 Lionheart Retro Series Road Course Champion. He does it by winning the ButtKicker Grand Prix of Road America with a fastest lap on the final lap of the race as well. The man cannot stop himself from showing off, and it goes to show why he is so feared when he steps out onto the track. Checkered flag waves for those behind as well to close out 2023. Still 2 more races left in the season. but they're oval races. They're coming in January, and it's going to be fun.
It's going to be absolutely fantastic to see Arjuna, and it's going to be very, very interesting. As we said, two wildly different courses to run.
Worldwide Technology Raceway first, the short track, where a lot of technique's going to be required, and then Auto Club. How much technique do you really need at Auto Club, DJ?
I mean, you got to have patience. You've got to know how to run a super speedway, and it may look easy, Arjuna, but it really does require a lot of fine-tuned driving. That you've got to be comfortable in the car to be able to run mere millimeters away from somebody else, and you've got to know not to take it 5 wide. You can't be greedy.
You just had to say 5 wide, didn't you?
I did.
We're not in Motegi, that's the only good thing. I'll say that. What I'll also say is, I don't want to say that there's not skill when it comes to being quick in those sort of races. It's just a different type of skill than what we're going to see at Gateway, where qualifying, you better bet it will be very, very important. Final drivers still working their way to the line, such as the length of the lap and the field spread that we have, that things are finally just wrapping up for the last handful of drivers in what has been an eventful 2023, I'm sure an eventful close to the 2023 year. On-track festivities, as well as all the drivers work their way across the line. We can head our way on over to your arena race results to confirm what is just yet another victory for the one and only Sean Campbell. That makes it 11 wins in 25 attempts. Only Sage Karam has a better hit record of victories at almost 48%. Sean Campbell's record of 42%, nothing to sneeze at though. Mike Razmas, defending champion, in second in front of David Siwan. Then Matt Taylor, who dropped backwards after fuel saving didn't work in his favor in the first into the race. Michael O'Brien, end-of-line penalty, bounced back quite well to charge his way forward. 15 spots into 5th place, with David Rodriguez, Josh Tucker, Sam Ryman, Cristobal Valenzuela, and then Sam Fontaine making up the rest of the top 10. On the leading lap still were the likes of Alex Guillon, Rodrigo Munoz, Jim Herrick, Luke Daniels, Matt Wagner, Craig Forsyth, and Jordan Saldo, while Ricky Harden was 1 lap down, Jimbo Pfeiffer was 2 laps down, and then Matt Telder, along with Hugo Gallus, unfortunately did not see the end here today, while the fastest lap, as mentioned, on the final lap, Sean Campbell just could not help himself. And so, as we make our way in towards the Next Level Racing post-race show, I think it's fair to say move of the race, probably Sean Campbell's move to get to the lead, but then also some of those laps that he punched in slightly after that. Let's head our way down to HyperX Victory Lane, where Sean Campbell stands by once again. And Sean, talk us through the move and the urgency that we saw from you. Did you think that you'd be able to break the draft and run away from those behind?
Well, that was the idea, at least, was to just to try and get up for the front after the disconnect. I just needed to make as many places as possible back up. But luckily, I guess my first lap was pretty good, because I started 4th, I'm pretty sure. So I got lucky with that, and I just wanted to get in the lead to control the pace, because we did need a fuel save, and it is nice to fuel save behind somebody, but I wanted to have that track position advantage just in case something goes wrong.
We did hear you doing a bit of fuel saving, so that's good to also clear that one up. I mean, congratulations. I didn't say it when we brought you in. Not just the victory here today, but I think officially the road course champion as well to close out the calendar year. But we've got 2 more races still left to go. Gateway, and then of course our trip over to Fontana to the Auto Club Speedway, where your focus is on claiming the overall championship as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think Gateway was that was the 4th one I did last year. That is really hard, but very, very fun. Very driver setup. And then Auto Club is just awesome. Auto Club's a lot of fun to do what you want, especially with the oval refresh. That's what I'm interested in seeing how Gateway does with the oval refresh.
Yeah,
because since the races are so long here, right? Well, so long. They're pretty long. They're long enough to where we could see the line go from being like the bottom of the track to the top of the track back to the bottom of the track or something.
It's a fair point. We were talking about, iRacing build and some of the things that have changed, including iRacing damage model, something that fortunately you didn't get to showcase for us today. How's the car feeling, though, on the road courses to close out the year?
It's great. A little understeery because we had to lift it up because the curbs bite it now. It's kind of scary. But, no, it drives great still. And I'm looking forward to how it drives on the ovals because I haven't driven the new damage model on the ovals yet.
Well, looking forward to seeing that. Congratulations, Sean, on the race win, as well as on the Road Course Championship. Enjoy your holidays. We'll see you in 2024 to wrap up the championship overall.
All right, peace.
Sean Campbell on top again. We'll head down to the second step of the podium, though, to the defending series champion, Mike Razmas, who's standing by with the one, the only, DJ Clark.
Mike, a good run there out for you on the day. A little bit of a close battle early on, but once those pit stops came around, it looked like you just put yourself into prime position.
Yeah, I'm really happy with that P2. Kind of feels like a win when you're racing against Sean, so I'm kind of proud of that drive. I wish I could have raced harder, and with Matt too, but we all had to save fuel, so that was the name of the game. Yeah, I was just saving fuel behind Matt. I knew he would probably either have a longer stop or, I knew there was a chance I could come out ahead of him after the pit stop. So I saved a bunch of fuel, and I took 1 click less fuel at my stop, so it would be a little shorter. And luckily I came out ahead of everybody I was racing against. And yeah, I tried to build a gap, and then was going to see how much I had to save. And I ran out of gas after the start-finish line, right about the pit exit. So I was saving the whole time. I thought for sure David and them would catch me, but I was able to just keep the gap just beyond the draft, the draft distance. So that was a good race for me.
Well, good race for you. As we look ahead, Gateway and Fontana coming up, can we expect good races from you there?
I'm hoping so. I think the ovals have been really fun for me this year, and I've been being more aggressive, making more moves, taking more opportunities. So this whole season has been just for fun for me, so I've been really enjoying racing with my friends, and 2 races left, I guess, and yeah, just gonna see what happens.
All right, well, Mike, we've enjoyed watching you here. Congratulations once again on a well-deserved second place.
Thanks, TJ.
And so Mike Razmas, second place. He was able to break away in the closing stages from David Zero, who was under pressure from Matt Taylor. David, talk us through that race. It seems like the first stint, it was all about fuel saving, and then the second one was all about, well, pushing as hard as you could.
Yeah, and I hate so much those fuel saving races, and I'm not very good at it. But this time it went very well. I saved a lot of fuel in the first stint, thanks to the draft ahead of me. And after the pit, I could push up to the end. Yeah, I'm very happy with this third place finish.
As we wrap up the season, we wrap up the road courses, how are you feeling about how the year has gone? I mean, Sean Campbell is Sean Campbell. There's only so much you could do to catch him, but you're still involved in a very close fight for third in the championship. You came out in front of Matt. How do you think it's going to go, heading off to Gateway and heading off to Auto Club?
Just being in the top 5 in the championship is very, very satisfying for me, because I feel those 4 guys, Sean Campbell, Michael O'Brien, Matt Taylor, and Mike Razimas are all better overall than me. So just being able to be up there fighting with them, I'm so happy with my season. I'm very happy with my consistency this season. Yeah, I'm very happy. Anyway, wherever I'm going to finish in the standing, I will be happy.
Always glad to have you with us, David, and we're happy to have you. Looking forward to seeing you in 2024. Happy holidays to you and yours, and we'll see you next year.
Thanks. Happy holidays to you and to all the team. Thanks to La Voix Motorsport and Ancestral Urbain for their support. Thanks to George and his team who are doing a fantastic job. And you too, guys, you're doing great.
Always great to chat to David Zero, and that wraps up the post-race interview portion of our Next Level Racing post-race show. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the HyperX Gateway 150, January the 4th, 2024, not 2023, because apparently that graphic is still stuck in the past. But Sean Campbell raised something, DJ, that I wasn't thinking about. iRacing's working on an oval refresh, on bringing oval racing back to where, well, some people in the community thought it used to be at its best. What's that going to mean for us with 2 races still left to go to crown a champion?
Well, what it means, Arjuna, is a variable race. It means that the racing groove is going to move up and down on the circuit a little bit, and that we're going to see drivers trying to see what they are able to find over the course of a long running. It means it's going to be a race that is utterly unpredictable, and it's going to be fantastic.
And as we've been mentioning, it wraps up what has been a remarkable 2023-2024 Lionheart Retro Series, the 7th season, the longest season, 22 races. And I just look at the schedule. I remember Fuji. Oh, that was really intriguing how that race played out. How long ago were we last racing for a Triple Crown at Indianapolis and Pocono? At the end of the day, DJ, it's also that time of year where people start looking forward to the next season. And so it's about that time where people are looking at this sort of racing going, you know what, I like it. It's time for them to head on to LionheartRacingSeries.com to learn a little bit more.
And I will tell you, as somebody who has not only had the pleasure of the past 2 years of calling this series, but being able to run in the series before that, you are never going to find a better group of guys to be able to run around. You are never going to find a better community to race around. They are all passionate about what they do. Clean, good driving. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, the only problem is you might have to go up against Sean Campbell.
Okay, that might be a little bit of a problem, but you can at least still try to prove your muscle, and who knows, maybe we'll find the one who beats Sean Campbell.
True, and you know, there's always a time for firsts, and at the same time, misery loves company. So at least someone's got to be beat by Sean Campbell. Someone's got to be beat by Sean Campbell, right? It might as well be you. So come and join us next year in the Lionheart Racing Series. Do not forget, if you want to learn more about the partners of the Lionheart Racing Series or about the 3 competitions the sanctioning body puts on, you can head to LionheartRacingSeries.com to learn more. And don't forget to support all of those that support us in making this possible, because it would not be a reality without them. What a wonderful ride 2023 has been, and well, we're not done. 2 more champions still left to be crowned, first here in the Lionheart Retro Series, but also in the ButtKicker Sports Car Series. To those that have joined us along the way, thank you so much for your company. We wish you and your family a happy holidays, and we'll see you in 2024. For DJ Clark, for the team at RaceSpotTV, it's Arjuna Kankipati signing off from America's National Park of Speed, where the story of 2023 is Sean Campbell is the man to be beat. He's your road course champion of 2023 and goes into next year looking to be the man to beat.